There are excursions that offer extraordinary views and others that allow you to walk through history. The Ferrata delle Trincee on the Padon Ridge manages to combine both in a spectacular itinerary overlooking the Marmolada and passing through relics of the Great War. Having left the car at Passo Fedaia, 2,057 meters, we take path number 698, which climbs steeply towards the Padon crest, towards Porta Vescovo. The Fedaia Pass is one of the most evocative passes in the Dolomites, nestled at the foot of the majestic Marmolada. From the very first steps, your gaze is captured by the imposing north face of the Queen of the Dolomites, which accompanies you along the entire route, like a constant presence. The approach path is well marked and leaves no room for hesitation. It immediately starts steeply through the meadows, always following the signpost 698. We ignore the various deviations along the route and continue climbing until we reach the Porta Vescovo saddle, 2,486 meters, after about an hour's walk from the pass. At this point, we keep left, moving towards the large rock face from which the ridge on which the Via Ferrata develops starts. Following clear traces of a path, we head straight towards the dark rock. Here we are, a white plaque fixed to the wall, 2,580 meters, 1 hour, 15 minuti total from the start, officially indicates the start of the Via Ferrata. The Ferrata delle Trincee is one of the most famous and popular routes in the area. It's a highly sought-after Via Ferrata, which means you're unlikely to find yourself alone, and you'll always meet plenty of people along the way. Once the carabiners are attached, the Via Ferrata immediately makes things clear. The first 15 meters of the initial wall are vertical and exposed, a nice grade of difficult D. Excellent for breaking the ice and getting your adrenaline pumping. The start of the Ferrata delle Trincee, in particular the first wall of about 50 meters, represents the most challenging section of the itinerary. The difficulty is considered high and requires good physical preparation and sure-footedness. After a short horizontal section, the cable climbs vertically along a smooth slab where it is necessary to proceed with adhesion. Once past the first few more technical meters, progression becomes easier thanks to compact rock and some bolts that aid the climb. Despite its great popularity, it is absolutely not a Via Ferrata suitable for beginners. The initial wall and some key passages along the route require excellent experience, arm strength, and an absolute absence of vertigo. Short traverses and a vertical wall follow, finally leading to the suggestive ridge between Passo Fedaia and Passo Fedaia, with splendid views of the Sella Group and the Marmolada. We briefly followed the flat ridge line on the right side in a very exposed environment, then going around a corner that leads to a suggestive panoramic terrace. Once you've overcome this initial athletic challenge, you immediately find yourself in front of one of the most spectacular and photographed points of the entire route, the Tibetan Bridge. Crossing this suspended walkway, stretched between two rocky outcrops with the Marmolada Glacier as a backdrop, is a pure thrill that quickly makes up for the initial effort. We continue on the left side of the ridge along a comfortable ledge that leads to a fork. Back on the ridge, we pass again on the left side and continue on an easy ledge until we reach a long downhill section, equipped in places with metal brackets, which leads to the crossroads where the first section of the Via Ferrata ends 2,676 meters, 1 hour and 30 minutes from the start. After crossing the bridge and continuing along the ridge, we reach the detour for the real bonus of the day, the climb to the Torre dell'Eremita. This slender rock spire branches off from the main trail and requires a bit of extra effort. The climb is vertical, aesthetic, and decidedly airy. The equipment is in excellent condition and recently installed, with a well-taut rope and some brackets that facilitate both ascent and descent. The route to the summit, although short, is rewarding, challenging, and exposed, leading to a narrow summit that offers a magnificent view. Getting to the top of the tower is amazing. The space is very limited. The 360-degree view is breathtaking, and the feeling of isolation, hence the name, is total. A ritual photo op here is a must before carefully descending and rejoining the main road. This variant consists of an ascent route and a descent route with directions for the start. This section can also be done as an independent itinerary, without tackling either the first or second sections of the Via Ferrata, reaching it directly from Lake Fedaia. Travel time for the variant: approximately 30 minutes in total, there and back. Once back on the classic route, we continue along the ridge, still tackling some rather challenging sections and stretches where the rock is particularly smooth from the passage. The sporting aspect begins to merge more and more with history. We encounter the first walkways, dry stone walls, and positions dug by soldiers 100 years ago. Continuing along the ridge path, there are alternating easy sections on the path, short descents and ascents, exposed protected ledges, and some passages on rocky crags. You then reach a new signpost at Crossroads. From here, you can descend towards Porta Vescovo, lose a little altitude to visit a characteristic stone hut, or continue following the signs for the equipped path. The ladder leads to the first tunnel, about 2 hours from the start, 25 to 30 meters long, which allows you to reach the north face. Just before entering the first tunnel, we come across clear signs for the Bontadini bivouac. It is a sign that the classic equipped route is about to give way to the more historic and underground section of the route. Continuing along the Via Ferrata, you reach the second tunnel about 2 hours and 15 minutes from the start, which is significantly longer than the previous one. To walk through it, a flashlight is essential. The tunnel is in fact about 150-200 meters long and has some steps inside and short equipped sections to climb. It is advisable to pay attention when crossing and always follow the main path, which is also easily identifiable thanks to the presence of reflectors. Once out of the last tunnel, the Via Ferrata officially ends near the Bontadini bivouac, 2,552 meters, a structure that stands right next to old military posts, in which we had seen signposted before the tunnels. It's the perfect place to take off your harness, eat a well-deserved sandwich, and enjoy the view that sweeps across the Marmolada group. The bivouac was created by renovating an old military post from the First World War, a former observatory or Austrian cableway station. We ignore the equipped section that climbs to the nearby Padon peak and continue down the path, which still has a few short equipped sections, until we reach the Padon Refuge, 2,390 meters, 3 hours from the start, 4 hours and 15 minutes total. And it is precisely from here that the final phase of our return to the Fedaia Pass begins. We initially take the classic trail, which winds scenically through high-altitude pastures, offering the last postcard views of the Marmolada. Then, to make the descent more dynamic and fun, we decide to abandon the main trail and follow some shortcuts that cut straight down through the meadows. In just 1 hour and 15 minutes from the refuge, we find ourselves exactly where we started this morning. The perfect loop is complete. Our legs are tired, but our minds are already focused on the next summit.